So we actually will have people out working, and we don't know.
That's what I say is a closed group.
Okay.
Can I ask
yes,
a question
yes,
of
well,
the ABC agent?
Certainly.
Agent Kane with Alcohol Beverage Control. I work out of the Fredericksburg office. I take care of Caroline County.
Right. If the board happened to grant these permits, would you or your office be at this event over the weekend to, they've said they're not getting a permit, ABC permit. I worked for ABC for 33 years, so, I know what's required. But the fact is, not that I don't trust them, I don't trust maybe some of the things that may go on with bringing your own bottle or some of the other things that may happen.
Yes, sir. It's my opinion that the genie is out of the bottle.
Yeah, right.
That once they've announced it on a site like Facebook,
Yes.
It's out there. There could be 250 people show up. There could be 2,500 people that show up. That's the problem with Facebook. Also, in reference to BYOB, the State Attorney General's office has made a decision as recently as 2004 in Richmond County concerning a field party where an individual charged money for people to show up in BYOB. The Attorney General's office agreed that it still constituted a sale of alcohol because they were providing the location at which alcohol would be served. It doesn't matter whether someone brings their own bottle or whether I'm pouring Budweisers for you. The fact that they're providing the location, the venue at which alcohol will be served. The other issue is this particular promotion group and the campground are for-profit entities. The only person that can get a banquet special event license in the Commonwealth of Virginia is a nonprofit.
Right.
So so even if they can't even obtain a license is the problem. So in the event that we were to go there in an undercover capacity, it probably wouldn't be me because I don't know if I could blend in at a rave, so to speak, for the whole weekend. But
They know you now, they've seen you.
exactly. I would describe an entire weekend of techno music as a rave. They're debating the fact as to whether or not it's a rave. I would also debate the fact that a 3-day music festival with techno electronic dance music encourages the use of club drugs and other illegal drugs. It specifically says on their Facebook page, don't bring tanks. The tanks they're referring to are nitrous oxide tanks. It's part of that culture, is part of the problem. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Got you, I understand.
But there may very well be undercover agents that attend the event.
Can I address the board about that subject matter?
Yes, sir.
This is why we do what we do. We're trying to change that exact, vision of our scene. I've been a DJ for 15 years. I started DJing on vinyl. I've been doing this forever. I love what I do. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke marijuana. I barely drink. We're trying to change the attitude about these events by proving that we can come together, have a group of folks out here, have a safe time, and enjoy ourselves responsibly. That's a lot about what we are and about what we're trying to do.
Okay. And I won't belabor the issue because I don't know if other board members have concerns. I guess several concerns that I have has nothing to do with you guys. I mean, I'm certainly not judging you or anything like that. My concern, first of all, is the property owner. You have nothing to do with that, but the property owner is in violation already. And he's not having the program or the incident, but it's being had on his property. The other thing is that we're going to have county people who are going to have to be out there to work this event, and they really don't, permits have not been secured. And they're going to have to sort of like be on site in order to make sure that the revenues, if there be any, are paid and go to the correct office or the correct entity. So, I mean, there are just a lot of unanswered questions, and here we are on the 12th making a decision for the 15th. That's just real.
Documentation, if you want to see it, about where we posted about, we changed our event page, we posted all the rules, no alcohol permitted, you know, if you recall, you will be removed from the event. Like, we made clear postings on all of our sites today about that one, you know, to try and.
Okay. All right,
I guess-
Mr. Seeley has a question. I mean, it's his district. So let me allow him,
You know, it's a campground. It's only 34 acres. There are people that are already there. It's not empty. Nobody's talked about the folks that are already camping there and that are already set up there. You can't kick them out. I don't
Mike's
think
already
they're going
spoken-
to.
Mike's already spoken with the people that that reside on the campground about the festival. They have been in compliance, and that's why we have the dates that we do have.
Exactly.
But they're still there. They haven't
sir.
left,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
They're still there.
Yes, sir. That's
As far
why-
as I'm aware.
That's the residents all at the front part of the campground. Those are his kind of, you know.
His tenants.
Yeah, tenants that stay there on a normal basis.
We won't even go there, so you can stop right there, okay? Don't go any further. My concern is there are folks that are already there.
Okay.
They're already camping there. They're already
Take them into
They're already
consideration.
pulled in.
Okay.
You can't inhibit, stop, or dictate anything they do.
Right.
They are free to roam the campground, they're free to go back to the pond, they're free to wander the whole event. I don't know how you can secure it. I mean, I rent where you've rented the entire facility. That's just not possible, and I wish that the owners were here, and I mean, I know the owners. I haven't gotten a single phone call from them. I've sat in their lobby and talked to them on many occasions about many things. I have not heard a word from them. So from that perspective, if you were me, what would you do? They know my phone number, they know where I live. If you were sitting in this seat, what would you do? Because you know that we're learning tonight they're in violation from April. And you can't very well leapfrog forward on something that we haven't resolved from the prior, it's only been 3 weeks. That's not been resolved. I'm not saying that's fair to you all, but we're looking at one this weekend, one the following weekend, and we haven't resolved the issues from last month. And I think in all fairness to everybody, what needs to happen is we need to resolve those issues. Everybody needs to understand what's going on. The ABC stuff, the number of people, the unsecured of the rest of the facility bothers me immensely. Any problems they cause are going to become your problems. I don't think you all want to deal with that. If one of them decides they're breaking out their six-pack and they're walking around the campground, you won't be able to evict them.
We have the wristbands, and you'll be able to,
It won't, I'm just telling you, when the sheriff's office shows up, it won't matter, because somebody's going to whip out their cell phone, there's going to be a 911 call, and either the person there or the person that's visiting you guys gets into it with them, that's what's going to happen. The sheriff's office is going to show up, you all end up in a situation that you don't want to be in. I don't want you in that situation. I don't have a problem with what you want to do. The timing of what you want, the timing you want to do it in, it doesn't fit. We generally work on these 6 to 8 weeks ahead of time, Mr. Fincham, to line one of these up so that everybody understands the ground rules and everybody's on the same page. Why aren't the owners of the property here with you all tonight?
It's a good question.
Yeah, that is a very valid question.
We really need to see them.
Right.
Because I understand you're the promoters, they're the owners.
Right.
They're here. You all aren't. And I don't think it's fair to not have them understand what's really going on, and you all are the ones with all the work in front of you.
Being, if this is happening, I've already paid, out of my pocket, almost $2,000 for just my DJs alone. That's just in my DJs. That's not including the lighting crew. That's not including the guys that are coming to do sound. This is already prepaid for it. And we weren't aware of the permitting issue.
Have any of you ever done events before?
I've done one last year.
Okay,
And
where was it?
It was in the backyard of my friend's house. It was nothing,
Got it.
it was
Got
just
it.
a couple of people.
I will tell you that when I saw the BYOB, I immediately said, if they haven't contacted ABC, because you're paying to get in, once you pay to get in, you become the person providing the liquor, whether you are or aren't.
Right, well, I mean, it's
But all I'm saying, this is gonna,
campground.
this
I mean,
may be,
I go camping with my kid and my parents, and I mean, I take a couple beers with me. I
right,
mean, it's a campground.
It's a
Paid at
campground.
camp, and then
but you're now
drink
holding
beer.
an event.
Right. Okay, I'd like to know, I mean.
Campground is treated like a hotel.
Right.
The pad that you rent,
So I'm sorry.
the pad that you rent, you can, if you have your camper, if you have your tent set up, you are permitted to have your own alcohol on your own pad, your own campsite. The problem is you've got a 3-day music festival with a pond, with common areas, with bathrooms, with where the concert venue is. It does not permit them to wander about the campsite with the alcohol. That's the difference between the campsite when you may have stayed there with mom and dad or your cousins or whatever back on July 4th weekend and what they're proposing today. So that's the clear difference.
And this may be an expensive lesson in what it takes to put on a festival. I mean, that's the only thing I can say to you, because at this point in time, the landowner's not here with you, zoning has issues with them, the sheriff's office has issues with them, and I don't think you all want to be in the mix of that. I don't think it's fair for us to put you in the mix of that at this point in time, because it doesn't have a good beginning, and the end probably isn't going to be any better.
I feel like we're being punished for other people's mistakes.
I'm trying to keep you from being punished.
I mean, it's a punishment. I mean, I stand to lose $11,000 as of this point out of my pocket. That's a punishment. That's a punishment.
So if you were sitting in this chair, you'd say, oh, it's in 3 days, Sergeant Crowder's got issues, zoning's got
We're
issues.
willing to work with y'all, with you, anything that you would like us to do to let this, or so that we can make this happen safely. And I'd like to prove to you, because I'd like to work with you in the future. I'd like to bring this back next year and do it again. This isn't a one-time thing. This isn't I'd like to do it
We're
again.
currently working on our 501c nonprofit because we are bringing together so many organizations in
I
the
would like to
state.
come back to you next year and present this a lot cleaner, a lot sooner, and have it okayed. This is not a one-time thing for me. This was an investment in something that I hope to build. And like I said, Caroline County, that campground is a beautiful campground. And I'm sorry that the owner has caused y'all problems, or that those other people promoting the party caused y'all problems. But I'm not the problem. I want to be the solution. I want to prove to y'all that we can do this thing
I think
and do
fearful.
it correctly.
I think
We
thinking
can do it
that
correctly.
we're going to cause problems and the issues concerning tanks and drug usage is propaganda that has been fed through. I think that our generation, since we are over the age of 30 years old, we're not part of that generation, and we're trying to work with the counties and the local law enforcement to work on that, to make this a more positive, beneficial, both financially and I was speaking with Cindy Cooper at the Commissioner of Revenue's office. She said I can submit to them all tax ID and vendor information but within 10 days after the event.
No, ma'am.
That
No,
is,
ma'am. That is not true. This is not that type of event. Every vendor has to be licensed. Everyone.
oh, okay, then that's a correction then that
No,
Cindy,
ma'am, I have her notes.
okay, that's very different than what she gave me. But, I mean, we are actually, I finally have information from vendors, which has taken some time because many of the vendors don't want to go through the Caroline County permitting process. So if I need to not permit vendors and not allow the tax revenue into the county, then I will absolutely abide to that. I want to work with Caroline County, and I want to make this a happy, healthy, safe event for everybody.
And I guess I hear what you're saying, and I believe that the board wants to work with not only you, but any group wanting to come and do business with the county. We want to work with them. But from what I'm hearing, the shortness of the time, and this is not your fault. We're not punishing you. But what we have here is a situation where a landowner, property owner was not given a permit and chose to have the function anyway. Just disregarded the fact. This doesn't have anything to do with you per se, but it's on his property. And so what we would be doing is allowing additional programs on his property when he has done things on his property that violated the county policy.
Is there another ground, or is there another property that we would be able to utilize?
But
for
I
events
can't
you can
answer that,
recommend?
Mr. Chairman, my concern, to be honest with you, is I understand Mr. Sealer's concern about the landowner not coming to him and trying it. But I'm not sure I don't have a problem with what you're trying to do, to be quite honest with you. And that's where I'm coming from, is the fact that you come in here 3 days before your event, and you tell us you want to bring, you can call it what you may, but it's a techno-musical festival, which I think you nailed it pretty correctly. And so I don't know that we've allowed that in this county in the past. I think there have been times when people have come and asked for different types of music festivals, and we've had to stop and think, is that going to be a fit for Caroline County? And is that what we want to promote Caroline County as being part of? And I think in the past, we've probably said no.
Well, I mean,
And so I'm not sure that I support what you're doing individually. I'm sorry that you didn't find it earlier. It's a shame that you didn't come and investigate as to, hey, where can we have this festival in Caroline County? I'm sorry about that, but unfortunately it's on you that you didn't do that. And that's where I'm coming from. I have more than one issue and one concern about this particular event in 3 days.
Other board members?
I was just trying to ascertain what would happen if 150 cars of 4 people just drove to the campground. They just, what is our position? What's our position?
On 50 cars?
50, 70? Let's say, what's our position?
can you re-ask that question, please? I'd like to.
I'm
hear it as
just
well.
kind of,
Just driving through. I don't know what to do anything about it.
for us, yeah, it's kind of for us, I'm just saying,
We couldn't do
let's,
anything about it.
If the cars showed up, that'd be one thing. If they're holding a musical
I just
event
wanna
and they
make-
go on and do it, it would be just like the last one, where they were told you need a permit, didn't get it, and hold it anyway. That would be a violation of the ordinances and codes of the county, which would then be a criminal complaint.
Well, you'd have to look at the specific ordinances that are violated and see what the penalties for those violations are. I don't, off the top of my head, know what they are. Mr. Fincham might have some idea, but you'd have a violation by, I think, probably by the property owner and by the promoter. And then depending on what the individual attendees were doing, you could have individual violations by them as well, not for just attending the event or not for attending an event, but for potentially drinking or parking illegally or, whatever.
I guess I got one quick question. Lieutenant Crowder had said a while ago, you guys were opposed to the sheriff's department being there.
No, that's not correct. We're not in opposition of the sheriff's department having a presence at our event. It's more that the $36 flat rate fee per hour, and it was an 8-hour commitment per day. Yeah, is that correct? Minimum of 2? Okay, well that actually, 4 hours?
I mean, we could have them there for 4 hours a day during peak times if that's what it would take. We were under the understanding that y'all had to be there like around the clock, and I mean, at $36 an hour around the clock for 72 hours, that was way beyond our budget that we could actually afford when we had already hired our own security team. But for 4 hours a day on Friday and Saturday, because it ends on Sunday at noon. It doesn't
It's
go
not
on,
3 actual days.
It's not actually 3 whole days. It ends on Sunday at noon. But
Mine has a setup date, which is that Thursday.
Yes.
And begins at noon, or, people, and then the music goes from 4 to. But I have no objection to them being there as well, for the minimum.
I mean, if it's
Okay,
for-
at this point, the board needs to make a decision as to how it wants to handle this issue. Mr. Seeley's district, we will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, in light of all the other issues that are involved in this, that I don't see how I can move forward with these. The landowner's not here, and I think that was critical. The promoters are fine, but the landowner should have been here. There's questions that they only can answer that you all cannot. I don't think it's right to try to do something in 10 days that generally takes 6 to 8 weeks to do. We just are not going to be able to get there from here. So I'll make a motion, we deny the request of ADM 02 2015 and ADM 01 and ADM 02 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we would deny the request for festival permits for ADM 01 2015 and ADM 02 2015. Is there discussion? Hearing no discussion.
Please.
All, excuse me. Hearing no discussion. Mr. Thomas, how do you vote?
The motion was to deny,
How do you
so an
vote?
affirmative would be concurring with the motion. So I vote aye.
Mr. Black?
I vote aye.
Mr. Underwood?
Nay.
Mr. Akers?
Aye.
Mr. Seeley?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The motion passes 5-1.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Mr. Fincham's coming up.
Do they know the process so they can try to do it or push it back? Right. Oh, good point, Reggie.
Mr. Fincham?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, if it is the desire of the board, I would ask for you to authorize staff to proceed with a criminal complaint related to the April event on the site, and furthermore to proceed with any enforcement action necessary under 49-8 subparagraph B related to actions in circuit court to restrain, enjoin, or prevent the violation of this chapter for any pending festivals.
So you're asking that the board
Now
will
I've got Reggie's.
Authorize staff to
Just show up.
ensure abatement and
What is
to
that?
prevent any violations of this chapter related to the past events on the site and the requested events tonight.
Okay, so do we need to make a motion to that effect?
Yes, I would ask the board to.
Why,
Okay.
why do we have to make a motion to pursuing something that was illegal?
What specifically says that the board may bring suits. So the
That's the
board,
ordinance you're reading?
yes, sir.
But under normal circumstances, don't we just tell the sheriff and let him, or
Well-
follow from there?
The past event, we would have to get a criminal complaint and discussing with the sheriff's office. That would be the direction we would go. I'm simply seeking the board's authority to do that.
Do we have pictures?
We want to give it to him, it just doesn't seem like that's a good process. Because suppose this happens, or had happened at the end of last month's second meeting, there's like 6 weeks in between. That's not a good thing, at all.
And I guess we're just going by the process that needs to be in place for this to happen. And maybe that's not a good process, but we have to go
We're
by
going to
it.
give him permission, sure. We'll make the motion.
Here's,
and I'll
here's
make it,
my
but
question.
fix the
Do we
process.
have pictures of what took place in April?
I don't know that we have pictures or not. There were sheriff's department officials in the area. They were aware that this event was potentially being held without the approval of the county. We would have to go through the process to prove to actually get the bill of complaint. So there's still a process that we have to go through. At the end of the day, we may not be able to get the warrant from the magistrate to go forward. It's simply a process that we have to go through to do that. Otherwise, there's no violation of this ordinance available to us. It's not like a zoning violation where I have certain authority under the zoning ordinance to proceed with a violation. I don't have that under this chapter.
So you're asking the board to give you permission to proceed?
If you want to address the festival that was held in April, that would be the appropriate action under 49-8A, is to seek a criminal complaint relative to that event. 49-8B addresses future events that may occur. The board can go to court and seek a restraining order or other remedies available to it to ensure that events do not occur. That's the option that the board has for future events.
Mr. Fincham, did I hear you correctly? You're saying that law enforcement knew there was a activity taking place that was not permitted?
Yes, sir, but they're limited by the same ordinance.
Which means they basically could do nothing. Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're saying?
That's our understanding of the way the ordinance is currently written. Yes, sir, we'd have to go.
I just find it really I think we're a lot of ambiguity here, because if they're to enforce the laws and something is illegal and there's something that says they can't enforce the law, that just does not make sense to me.
And the reality, it's a good thing those other people left, because they could do their festival knowing nothing could happen to it.
Yeah, what you gonna do? I might call them and say, have it anyway.
Mr. Underwood, I would remind the board that this is a post-Woodstock ordinance. It was written in 1970. It probably needs to be updated.
Wow, that was a good year. That was a really good year.
Well, but
basically, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add, I mean.
Okay, the attorney is,
Section A does say that, essentially anyone, any entity or person who violates any provision of the chapter is guilty of a misdemeanor, and that's punishable by both a fine and by confinement in jail for not exceeding 30 days. So if I understood what you were asking, I mean, if these young people go out and still do this, they violated the ordinance. They can.
Why couldn't we enforce that when it was taking place? He says, we knew that the one that took place in April, they knew it was taking place.
They could have. I mean, that could be done.
I think the sheriff's office had concern about whether they had the authority or whether we actually had to request the complaint through the magistrate's office. I think.
You have the authority on business license, meals tax.
Say that again, Ms. Carter, I'm sorry.
she said they do have the authority on business license
And meals tax.
and meals tax,
Sheriff's office.
the sheriff's office.
And what's the penalty for a misdemeanor? $1,000 fine?
Well, it doesn't say what type of misdemeanor, but in here it says the fine would be not exceeding $300, and the fine under the ordinance is not to exceed $300, and by confinement in jail not exceeding 30 days, and then each violation is a separate offense.
Mr. Chairman, rather than me trying to speak for the sheriff's office, Lieutenant Crowder is here.
Okay. Lieutenant?
Actually, Lieutenant Carey, Lieutenant Carey actually went to the event.
Okay.
Having gone by the campground last weekend, this was an event that came to us through the Virginia Fusion Center. And I want to say the promoter of this was 420 Productions, which is National Weed Day, so that's how we came by through the Virginia Fusion Center. So I went by the one time, and this was supposed to be